a huge weekend in college football where 3 Heisman Trophy finalists are arriving in New York City. We have Johnny Manziel from Texas A&M, the freshman quarterback, Manti Te'o, the linebacker from Notre Dame, and Colin Klein, another quarterback from Kansas State. So what do you think of this slate?
It's going to be Manziel, although I thought it was interesting you mentioned his class and not anybody else's. Is that a little bit of discrimination? Why does that matter?
Well, it's very unusual. In fact, it's never happened that the Heisman Trophy winner has been a freshman, and so a redshirt freshman anyway, and so that would happen for the first time were Manziel to be elected. But I think he's earned it. 4,600 yards of total offense. That's better than about a third of the teams in this division of football. So very impressive numbers.
But why does that even matter? I'm stunned that people are actually thinking about that as a reason not to vote for this guy. Like, he's the best player. He's the best player. Not that I'm arguing for him, but just that whole idea I think is silly.
Well, I will argue for him, and you're right about the freshman thing, but he's got 4,600 yards of total offense. He beat Alabama, which is an incredible team playing for the title this year, of course, and he simply has given us no reason not to vote for him, so I think he's got it. But what do you think?
Beating Alabama at Alabama is pretty much what put him on the map, because remember, before this, it looked like it was going to be first Geno Smith. Everybody's forgotten about him. I guess he's going to be watching on TV. And then, of course, it looked like it was going to be Colin Klein. Me personally, what about Te'o from Notre Dame? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about his stats, all his interceptions. Personally, I don't really think that you should look at stats with defensive players. There's a lot of context there you got to remember. But he basically is the best player on the best defense in the country. No offense to Alabama. And he's the reason, without him, they're not anywhere near the national title game. I think he deserves consideration, too.
Sure. Interesting that both of those teams started the season unranked, Notre Dame and A&M, and both, of course, are world beaters at this point. They look great.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about Colin Klein. What are his chances?
Well, we can forget about Colin Klein. I mean, he's had a great season. They're going to be in a BCS game. They won the Big 12 conference. But if you look at him versus Manziel played a tougher schedule, tougher conference, and he has better numbers. So there really isn't an argument at this point for Klein. I mean, it looked like he was going to win it, but then after they lost that game to Baylor and weren't even close, he basically fell completely out of the race.
Baylor, of course, having the worst defense in college football at the time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting race this weekend here in New York City.